My name is Maya Hartfield, and I'm 33 years old. 3 months ago, my younger brother Cameron called me to deliver the worst news I'd ever heard from a family member. Maya, I need to tell you something. You're not invited to my wedding. Jessica and I have decided we want the day to be drama-free, and with everything that's happened between us, we think it's better if you just stay away. I was stunned into silence. My brother, who I'd helped raise after our mother died. My brother, whose college tuition I'd partially funded when Dad's business went under. My brother, who was getting married at a venue I'd toured with him and his fiancée Jessica just 6 months earlier, back when I was supposed to be a bridesmaid. You're uninviting me from your wedding, I repeated, making sure I'd heard correctly. It's not personal, it's just easier this way, you understand? I didn't understand. But I said okay, hung up, and sat in my office staring at my phone for 20 minutes while my heart broke into pieces. Then I made a phone call to the owner of Riverside Estate, the venue Cameron had chosen for his wedding. The beautiful historic property overlooking the water that he'd fallen in love with. The venue that had just gone up for sale 3 weeks earlier when the previous owner decided to retire. Is the property still available? I asked. It is. Are you interested in viewing it? I'm interested in buying it. Today. Cash offer. How soon can we close? By 5 p.m. That afternoon, I'd made an offer 15% above asking price, waived inspections, and agreed to close in 2 weeks. By that evening, the owner had accepted. By the end of the month, Riverside Estate belonged to me. Cameron had no idea. Jessica had no idea. Nobody knew that the venue they'd booked for their wedding, the place they were planning to celebrate while excluding me, now had my name on the deed. Before I tell you how my brother's wedding day turned into the most satisfying moment of karmic justice I've ever witnessed, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss stories like this. If you've ever been cut out by family who forgot what you'd sacrifice for them, hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a comment with where you're watching from and the moment a sibling betrayed you after everything you'd done for them. Your stories remind me I'm not alone. Now let me take you back to how this family fracture began. Cameron is 4 years younger than me. Our mother died when I was 19 and he was 15. Cancer that came fast and took her within 6 months of diagnosis. Our father tried his best, but he was grieving and overwhelmed. His landscaping business was struggling. Money was tight. I was in college, working 2 jobs to pay my tuition, but I came home every weekend to help. Made sure Cameron had food, helped with homework, drove him to school when Dad couldn't. I became part mother, part sister, trying to fill a void that could never really be filled. When Cameron graduated high school and got into a good university 3 hours away, Dad couldn't afford the tuition. His business had taken a hit during the recession. He had enough for maybe 1 semester. I'd been saving for a down payment on a condo. Had about $15,000 set aside. I gave $12,000 of it to Cameron for his first year of school. I'll pay you back, he promised. Just focus on your education, we'll figure it out. He never paid me back. I never asked him to. That's what family does, right? You help when you can. I graduated, got a job in commercial real estate, worked my way up to senior acquisitions manager. Started making good money, bought that condo eventually, built a stable life. Cameron graduated, got a decent job in marketing, started dating Jessica. Our relationship was good. Not perfect, we were different people with different priorities, but good. I was happy for him when he got engaged. Excited to be part of his wedding as a bridesmaid. Then Jessica's mother got involved. Linda Chen was, to put it mildly, controlling. She had opinions about everything, the venue, the flowers, the guest list, the ceremony structure. And she had particular opinions about me. Your sister is so career-focused, I overheard her tell Cameron at a family dinner 6 months before the wedding. Does she even have time to be a good bridesmaid? These things require commitment. I'd taken 2 days off work to go dress shopping with the bridal party. I'd hosted Jessica's bridal shower at my condo. I had been nothing but committed. But Linda had decided I was the problem. Maybe because I was older and unmarried, which in her traditional worldview meant something was wrong with me. Maybe because I had a successful career and she felt threatened by that. Maybe because Jessica complained to her mother about every little thing and I'd become a convenient scapegoat. The final straw came at Cameron and Jessica's engagement party. It was at Linda's house, a lavish affair with over 100 guests. I'd brought an expensive gift, a set of artisan cookware Jessica had mentioned wanting. During the gift opening portion, Jessica unwrapped my present in front of everyone. Looked at it with a strange expression. "Where?" she said, her voice dripping with something I couldn't quite identify. "You mentioned you wanted that set, from that artisan shop downtown. I mentioned that like a year ago, Maya. We're already registered at Williams-Sonoma for kitchen stuff. This is just redundant." Linda jumped in. "It's fine, dear." I'm sure Maya meant well. She probably forgot you'd already registered. I hadn't forgotten. I'd specifically chosen something she'd expressed interest in before she'd made her registry. But suddenly I was the thoughtless sister who didn't pay attention. The party continued, but I felt the shift. Jessica's friends whispering. Linda's tight smiles. Cameron looking uncomfortable but not defending me. A week later, Jessica called. "Maya, we need to talk about the bridesmaid situation." My stomach dropped. "Okay, my cousin Amanda is flying in from overseas for the wedding. Linda really wants her to be a bridesmaid, and we're trying to keep the number even on both sides. So we're thinking maybe you could step down. You'd still be invited, obviously. Just not in the bridal party." I was being demoted, from bridesmaid to guest. I asked carefully. "What else would it be about?" "I don't know. Maybe about Linda wanting me out of the wedding party for some reason." "Maya, don't be paranoid. This is just logistics." I could have fought it. Could have demanded Cameron intervene. But I was tired. Tired of being made to feel like an inconvenience at an event that should have been a family celebration. "Fine," I said. "I'll step down. Thank you for being so understanding. If you're already hooked on this story and dying to know what happens next, smash that like button right now. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to blow your mind. And drop a comment telling me, have you ever been pushed out by family who forgot everything you'd done for them? I want to hear your stories." I thought that would be the end of it. I'd attend as a guest, smile through the awkwardness, and slowly distance myself from a brother who'd let his fiancée and future mother-in-law treat me like garbage. But it got worse. 2 months before the wedding, Cameron called. "Maya, we need to talk." Here we go again, I thought. "Jessica and I have been discussing the guest list. We're over budget, on head count, and need to cut some people." "Okay. What does that have to do with me?" Silence. Long, painful silence. "Cameron, we're thinking it might be better if you don't come to the wedding." The words hit me like physical blows. "You're uninviting me? Your sister?" "It's not like that. It's just, there's been tension. Jessica feels uncomfortable around you after the whole bridesmaid thing. Linda thinks having you there will create drama. And honestly, Maya, I just want my wedding day to be stress-free. So I'm the stress. I'm the problem. You're making this harder than it needs to be." "I'm making it hard?" "Cameron, I helped raise you. I paid for part of your college. I've been nothing but supportive of this wedding even after I got demoted from the bridal party. And now you're uninviting me? I know you've helped me in the past." "In the past? Like it's ancient history? Like it doesn't matter anymore?" "It matters. But this is my wedding day. I need to put Jessica first. And she needs to feel comfortable. You understand?" I didn't understand. But I also knew I wasn't going to beg my own brother to let me attend his wedding. "Fine," I said, my voice hollow. "I won't come. Have a great wedding, Maya." I hung up. I spent that night crying. Then angry. Then cycling back to crying. Marcus, my boyfriend of 2 years, held me while I fell apart. "He's choosing his fiancée's mother's opinion over his own sister," I kept saying. "How is that okay? It's not okay. None of this is okay." And Jessica just goes along with whatever Linda says. Cameron's not even making his own decisions anymore. So what are you going to do? That was the question. What was I going to do? Accept this treatment? Let them push me out and say nothing? Pretend it didn't devastate me? Or find a way to make them see what they'd done? The idea came to me 3 days later. I was at work reviewing potential property acquisitions for clients, when I saw a listing that made me pause. Riverside Estate. The DMCYH venue Cameron had chosen for his wedding. The beautiful historic property he'd fallen in love with. It was for sale. The owner, an elderly woman named Margaret who'd run the venue for 30 years, had decided to retire. She was selling the property, the business, everything. Asking price, $2.4 million. I made more than enough to qualify for that kind of loan. I had excellent credit, significant savings, strong banking relationships. I could buy this property. But should I? I spent a week thinking about it. Not just about revenge, though I'd be lying if I said that wasn't part of it, but about whether owning a venue made practical sense. I talked to my accountant, my financial advisor, a real estate attorney. The consensus, it was actually a solid investment. Riverside Estate was profitable, booked out for the next 18 months, located in a desirable area. With proper management, it would generate good income and appreciate in value. And yes, it happened to be where my brother was getting married. The brother who'd uninvited me. The wedding I wasn't allowed to attend. I made the call. Margaret, this is Maya Hartfield. I'm interested in purchasing Riverside Estate. We met the next day. I toured the property, reviewed the financials, asked detailed questions about operations and bookings. Everything checked out. This was a legitimate business opportunity. I'd like to make an offer, I told her. Above asking price. Cash it. Purchase. Quick, close. Margaret looked surprised. You don't need to offer over asking. My price is fair. I know. But I want this property, and I want the transaction to move quickly. Would you consider $2.7 million? Close in 2 weeks? She would. We shook hands. Within hours, attorneys were drafting contracts. 2 weeks later, I owned Riverside Estate. Every building, every piece of property, every booking contract, including the one for Cameron and Jessica's wedding, scheduled for 3 months away. I didn't tell anyone. Not my father, not my friends, not Marcus at first. Just quietly took ownership, met with the venue manager to discuss operations, reviewed the bookings. When I saw Cameron and Jessica's contract, with all the deposits they'd paid, the detailed plans they'd made, I felt a surge of power. This wedding they were planning without me? I owned the location. I controlled whether it happened at all. But I wasn't going to cancel it. That would be too obvious, too cruel. I was going to do something better. I was going to show up. The wedding was 2 weeks away when I finally told Marcus what I'd done. You bought your brother's wedding venue? He looked at me like I'd grown a second head. I bought a sound investment property that happens to also be where he's getting married. Maya, that's insane, is it? Or is it brilliant? It's brilliantly insane. I'm not going to ruin his wedding. I'm just going to be there. As the owner. Checking on my property during a major event. And when he sees you, then he sees me. And he can explain to all his guests why his sister owns the venue but wasn't invited to the wedding. Marcus shook his head, but he was smiling. You're terrifying when you're hurt. I prefer strategic. The week before the wedding, I checked in with Riverside Estate's manager, a competent woman named Patricia. The Hartfield Chen wedding is this Saturday, she said, reviewing the schedule. Everything's confirmed. They're scheduled for arrival at 1 p.m., ceremony at 4, reception until 10. I'll be there, I said. She looked surprised. You'll be on site? It's a major event. I want to make sure everything runs smoothly. Of course. Should I let the couple know the owner will be present? No need. I'll introduce myself if the opportunity arises. Okay, before I tell you what happened on the actual wedding day, I need to know, would you have done what I did? Bought the venue? Shown up uninvited? Drop yes or no in the comments right now. And if you're still watching this whole story, hit that like button to let me know you're invested in how this ends. Because what happens next is absolutely wild. The wedding day arrived. Saturday afternoon, sunny and perfect. I dressed carefully, professional but elegant. Not bridal colors, nothing attention-seeking. Just a tasteful dress that said property owner checking on her investment. I arrived at Riverside Estate at 1 p.m., just as guests were starting to arrive. Parked in the owner's designated spot. Walked into the main building where Patricia was coordinating last-minute details. Maya, good afternoon, she said. Everything's running on schedule. The bridal party should be arriving shortly. Perfect. I'll be in the office reviewing some paperwork if you need me. I positioned myself in the venue office, which had a window overlooking the main entrance. From there, I could see everyone arriving. My father showed up looking uncomfortable in his suit. Aunts and uncles I hadn't seen in months. Jessica's family, including Linda, looking imperious in a dress that was almost bridal in its grandeur. Then the bridal party. Jessica looking beautiful in her dress, surrounded by bridesmaids including the cousin who'd replaced me. Cameron in his tux, smiling and greeting guests, looking happier than I'd seen him in years. I felt a pang. Not jealousy. I was happy for him, genuinely. But sadness that I couldn't be part of this moment because Linda had decided I was a threat, and Cameron had chosen to appease her. The ceremony was scheduled for 4. At 3:45, I left the office and walked through the main building toward the outdoor ceremony space. Patricia intercepted me. "Maya, the wedding party is about to walk. Did you want to observe from a distance?" "Actually, I think I'll stand near the back, just to make sure everything's running smoothly." "Of course." I positioned myself at the very back of the seating area, behind all the guests. Most people were focused on the ceremony setup and didn't notice me. But a few turned, did double takes, whispered to their companions. "Was that Maya? What's she doing here?" I thought she wasn't invited. Cameron's groomsmen appeared, taking their positions. Then the bridesmaids, walking in pairs down the aisle. Then Jessica, escorted by her father, looking radiant. The ceremony began. I stood at the back watching my brother get married without being part of it. Watching him make vows to Jessica while surrounded by friends and family, everyone except his sister. Halfway through the ceremony, my father spotted me. His face registered shock, confusion, then something that might have been relief. He caught my eye, mouthed something I couldn't make out. I smiled slightly, stayed where I was. The ceremony concluded. Cameron and Jessica were pronounced married. Everyone clapped. The couple walked back down the aisle, beaming, greeting guests. They didn't see me. They were too focused on each other, on the moment, on the celebration. The cocktail hour began. Guests moved toward the reception building. I followed at a distance, still observing, still present but not participating. That's when Linda saw me. She was standing with a cluster of her family members when her eyes landed on me. The color drained from her face. She grabbed Jessica's arm, whispered urgently. Jessica turned, saw me, froze. Then she grabbed Cameron. Pointed. Cameron's expression went through several stages: confusion, recognition, shock, panic. He walked over quickly, his new wife and mother-in-law following. "Maya, what are you doing here? I'm checking on my property." I kept my voice calm, professional. "Your property? Riverside Estate. I own it. Bought it 2 months ago." He stared at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "You..." "What? I purchased this venue. Didn't Patricia tell you?" "The ownership changed recently." Jessica had gone pale. "You own our wedding venue?" "I do. And I have to say, you've made excellent choices with this setup. The flowers are beautiful. The seating arrangement works well with the space." Linda's voice was shrill. "This is inappropriate. You weren't invited to this wedding. You need to leave." I turned to her with a polite smile. "Actually, as the property owner, I have every right to be on the premises during events, but don't worry. I'm not here to cause problems. I'm just ensuring everything runs smoothly for your daughter's special day." Cameron found his voice. "Maya, please, don't do this." "Do what? Stand in a public area of a property I own? I'm not disrupting anything. I'm not making a scene. I'm simply present." "But why? Why would you buy our venue?" "Because it's a solid investment. Property and I had the capital to purchase it. The fact that you're getting married here is coincidental." "That's bullshit," Jessica said, her voice shaking. "This is about revenge." "Is it? Or is it about me making a smart business decision while you're making a personal one?" "I'm not stopping your wedding. I'm not demanding you leave. I'm just existing in the same space you're celebrating in. If that's uncomfortable, maybe ask yourself why." People were starting to notice the commotion. Guests whispering, pointing. My father had made his way over, looking between me and Cameron with an expression I couldn't read. "What's going on?" he asked. "Dad, did you know Maya bought this venue?" Cameron asked. My father's face confirmed he didn't. "You bought Riverside Estate 2 months ago? It came up for sale, and I made an offer. Good investment." He looked at me for a long moment, then at Cameron. "You uninvited your sister from your wedding? Dad, it's complicated. Did you uninvite her?" Cameron's silence was answer enough. My father's expression hardened. "Then I'd say her being here on her own property is the least complicated thing about this situation." Linda stepped forward. "This is unacceptable. She's ruining Jessica's day." "She's standing quietly at her own venue," my father interrupted. Cameron ruined the day when he excluded his sister from a family event. Maya's just making that decision more visible. The confrontation was attracting more attention. Now, guests openly staring. Groomsmen and bridesmaids clustering nearby, uncertain what to do. Patricia appeared at my elbow. Maya, is everything all right? Should I intervene? Everything's fine, I said clearly, loud enough for the surrounding guests to hear. The wedding is proceeding as scheduled on my property. The couple and I are just clarifying some details about the venue ownership. Cameron's face was red. You're doing this to humiliate me. I'm not doing anything to you. You uninvited me from your wedding. I bought a property. These are separate facts that happen to intersect today. If you're humiliated, it's because other people are finding out what you did, not because I'm taking revenge. Maya, enjoy your reception, Cameron. Congratulations on your marriage. The venue staff will ensure everything goes perfectly for you. I walked away, heading back toward the office. Behind me, I heard raised voices. Cameron and Jessica arguing with my father. Linda trying to regroup. Guests buzzing with gossip about what they'd just witnessed. I sat in the office, my heart pounding, adrenaline coursing through me. I hadn't planned that confrontation. Hadn't expected to be spotted so quickly. But it had happened, and I couldn't take it back. Marcus called. How's it going? I just had a confrontation with Cameron in front of half his wedding guests. Oh my God, what happened? I told him everything. The ceremony, being spotted, Linda's reaction, my father's unexpected defense. So what now? Marcus asked. Now I stay here, in my office, let them have their reception, and go home knowing I stood my ground. You're incredible. I'm petty. You're incredibly petty. It's one of your best qualities. I spent the next 3 hours in that office while Cameron and Jessica's reception happened outside. I heard music, laughter, the sounds of celebration. Occasionally, Patricia would update me, everything running smoothly, no issues, guests seemed to be enjoying themselves despite the earlier drama. Around 8 p.m. there was a knock on the office door. I opened it to find my father. Can I come in? Of course. He sat heavily in one of the chairs. That was quite a scene earlier. I didn't mean to cause a scene. I was just existing. I know. And Cameron knows it too, even if he won't admit it. He looked at me. Why didn't you tell me he'd uninvited you? And hurt. And I didn't want to make you choose sides. I would have chosen your side. What he did was wrong. What Jessica and her mother pushed him to do was wrong. He's an adult. He made his choice. He made a mistake. A big one. My father paused. Buying this venue, that was strategic. It was practical. The property was for sale. I had the capital. It's a good investment. It's also a power move. A way to show him he can't just erase you from his life without consequences. Maybe. I'm proud of you. For standing up for yourself. For not letting them make you invisible. Those words coming from my father meant more than I expected. I started crying. He pulled me into a hug. You're my daughter. You matter. And anyone who treats you like you don't, even your brother, needs to learn better. We sat together for a while. Then he went back to the reception. I stayed in the office until the event ended at 10 p.m., until the last guest had left, until Cameron and Jessica had departed for their hotel. Patricia came to find me. The events concluded. Everything went smoothly despite everything. Thank you for your professionalism. Of course. Will you be around more often now? To manage the property, I'll be around regularly. This is my investment. I want to make sure it thrives. I drove home that night feeling exhausted but vindicated. I'd shown up. I'd been present. I'd forced Cameron to confront what he'd done in front of everyone who mattered. The fallout came over the next few days. Cameron left angry voicemails. Jessica sent hostile texts. Linda apparently tried to leave a terrible review of the venue online, before realizing that would only highlight the family drama. But other calls came too. From aunts and uncles who'd been at the wedding, who said they were appalled Cameron had excluded me. From cousins who wanted to know the full story. From my father, checking in daily. And from friends of Cameron's, people I'd known for years, who reached out to say they'd had no idea I'd been uninvited, and were disgusted by the way I'd been treated. The court of public opinion had spoken. And it wasn't in Cameron's favor. 2 weeks after the wedding, Cameron called. Not to yell this time. His voice was different, quieter, uncertain. Maya, Can we talk? In person? Okay. We met at a coffee shop. He looked tired. Marriage clearly wasn't starting out as smoothly as he'd hoped. I owe you an apology, he said immediately. Several apologies. I waited. Uninviting you from my wedding was wrong. Letting Jessica and Linda push me to exclude my own sister was wrong. Treating you like you didn't matter after everything you'd done for me was wrong. Why did you do it then? Because I was weak. Because Jessica kept saying she'd be uncomfortable if you were there, and Linda kept insisting you'd cause drama, and I just wanted everyone to be happy. I wanted a perfect wedding day where nobody was mad at me. So you made me the sacrifice. Yes. And it was cowardly. You deserved better. You've always deserved better. You're right. I did. Can you forgive me? I thought about it. About the years of helping him, supporting him, loving him. About the hurt of being excluded. About showing up at his wedding and forcing him to face what he'd done. Eventually, maybe. But not right now. Right now I'm still hurt. And angry. And you need to understand that buying Riverside Estate wasn't about revenge. It was about reminding you that I exist. That I have power. That you can't just erase me when it's convenient. I know. I see that now. Do you? Because Linda and Jessica clearly still see me as the problem. Do they understand what they did wrong? His silence was telling. That's what I thought. Cameron, I'll always be your sister. I'll always care about you. But I'm not going to accept being treated like this. Not by you. Not by Jessica, not by anyone. If you want a relationship with me going forward, it has to be on new terms. Terms where I'm respected. Where my presence matters. Where I'm not just an inconvenience to be managed. I understand. I hope so. Because I'm done being the family member who sacrifices everything and gets nothing in return. We finished our coffee in uncomfortable silence. When we parted, he hugged me. I let him, but didn't return it with the same warmth I once would have. 6 months have passed since Cameron's wedding. Things are slowly, painfully, improving. Cameron and I have lunch occasionally. The conversations are stilted, careful, nothing like they used to be. But there's something. Jessica? And I have an uneasy truce. She's never apologized, but she's polite now. Linda still treats me like I'm a problem, but I don't interact with her enough to care. My father and I are closer than ever. He's made it clear to Cameron that excluding me was unacceptable, that family matters more than keeping the peace with difficult in-laws. And Riverside Estate? It's thriving. I've hired an excellent management team, made some renovations, increased bookings. It's become a source of pride and profit, a reminder that sometimes the best revenge is success. I hosted an event there last month, a charity gala for an organization I care about. Cameron and Jessica attended. Linda did not. When the venue manager introduced me as the owner to various guests, Cameron watched with an expression that might have been regret or respect. I couldn't tell which. After the event, he pulled me aside. The place looks amazing. You've done great things with it. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't see you clearly before. I took you for granted. You did. I won't make that mistake again. Good. What? Because I'm done being invisible. Your family's comfort is not more important than your dignity. Your siblings' happiness is not worth sacrificing your own. And when someone tries to erase you from their celebration, sometimes the most powerful response is showing up anyway, as the person who literally owns the space they're trying to exclude you from. If you made it this far, you understand what it's like to be taken for granted by people who forgot what you sacrificed for them. Hit that subscribe button for more stories about people who reminded their families exactly who they were dealing with. Drop a comment about a time you had to prove your worth to people who should have known it already. Your vindication matters. Hit like if you believe family means showing up for each other, not just when it's convenient. And share this with someone who needs to hear that being uninvited isn't the end. It's an opportunity to rewrite the story on your own terms. Remember, the people who say you're not family anymore often realize too late that you were the foundation everything else was built on. And sometimes the wedding venue they booked without you is the perfect place to make that point. Until next time, this is Maya, reminding you that my brother said I wasn't invited to his wedding. So I bought the venue where it was happening. And when he arrived expecting his perfect day, he got a lesson in what happens when you underestimate the person who's been supporting you your entire life.